Thank you so much for sticking with us as we took a quick commercial break. We are in the middle of the Impact Wrestling Hard to Kill 2022 post-show review. I am your host, Taeler Hendrix, and this was Impact Wrestling's Hard to Kill 2022. To kick off the show, we had two pre-show matches featuring some of the talented future stars of Impact Wrestling as they stand today. In the first match, we had Jake Something, who went up against Madman Fulton toe-to-toe, where he came out on top with a pinfall for the win. Next up, we definitely had a who's who for the Impact X Division. We had Mike Bailey going up against Ace Austin versus Chris Bay versus Laredo Kid in a four-way match. Now, to be honest with you guys, going into this match, I had my money on Chris Bay. Chris Bay and Ace Austin, their chemistry is top notch. They represent such an immensely talented future of the company, not just in the X Division, but also within the entire company. That's very, very exciting. I see really, really huge futures for both of those men. But in the end, as you guys know, there can only be one winner. And tonight, that was surprisingly, with a huge upset, Mike Bailey. To kick off the show, we crowned a new #1 contender for the Impact Wrestling Knockouts World title. We had the first ever history-making Knockouts Ultimate X match. How cool is that? So insane, crazy, awesome. It had a lot of really good spots. Each woman had their own opportunity to shine. There was a lot of really good stuff in there that when you put it together, it just created some magic that we're going to be talking about in clips for years to come when they do throwbacks. In this match for the first ever Knockouts Ultimate X, you had Chelsea Green versus Jordan Grace versus Alicia Edwards versus Lady Frost versus Rosemary, and of course Tasha Steelz. In the end, just like in the four-way on the pre-show, there can only be one winner, and that new #1 contender for the Women's Knockouts World Championship title is none other than Tasha Steelz. Congratulations! She will be the first winner of the first ever Knockouts Ultimate X. She is having a great career so far in Impact Wrestling. She got to be crowned alongside Kiera Hogan with the brand new reignited Knockouts tag team titles awarded to them from two legendary knockouts themselves, Gail Kim and Madison Rayne. And now she's the first winner of the Knockouts Ultimate X, and she is now the new #1 contender to the Knockouts Championship. That is definitely one way to kick off 2022. I think Tasha Steelz is on the way for a banner year in 2022. Moving right along, we had the X Division title on the line, with champion Trey Miguel looking to once and for all cement his legacy within Impact Wrestling and prove to everyone why he chose to stand on his own in Impact Wrestling. All of this and more was on the line as he went up against Steve Maclin, who has had a great time thus far since joining Impact Wrestling. And so with that comes some tension, right? You have a newcomer, you have somebody trying to cement themselves as the future of the industry, the future of the company. Two big egos, two big alphas collide, and what do you have? An Ultimate X match. Trey Miguel put his title on the line against Steve Maclin, and he retained his title. So now, Steve Maclin will no longer be able to challenge for the X Division title so long as Trey Miguel still holds the gold. Moving right along, we had the ROH World title on the line as the newly crowned champion Jonathan Gresham represents Ring of Honor on Impact Wrestling's Hard to Kill as he goes up against somebody who is no stranger to both Impact Wrestling and Ring of Honor as he goes up against Chris Sabin. In the end, the gold was tested and found true. Jonathan Gresham retained his title to still be able to have the bragging rights of being the Ring of Honor World Champion, the foundation, the pure wrestler, Jonathan Gresham. Next, we had a grudge match of epic proportions. The former X Division champion, the Walking Weapon, Josh Alexander, went up against Jonah, and he received the first win by submission on the entire pay-per-view. Congratulations, Josh Alexander. Next, we had the Hardcore War. And when we say war, we mean all-out war. Everything was used. Everybody was tested. One team got the glory. The other team was laying up from the flat of their back, being left found wanting. But as you guys know, only one team can win. And tonight, that may have surprised you. Eddie Edwards, Rich Swann, Willie Mack, Heath Slater, and Rhino went up against the Good Brothers, Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson, as well as Violent by Design's Eric Young, Diener, and Joe Doring. In the end, Rhino's team won. Eddie Edwards, Rich Swann, Willie Mack, and Heath Slater all defeated the Good Brothers in Violent by Design. Although I will have to say that their victory was very short-lived, as there was an ROH invasion towards the end of this segment, which resulted in the debuts of Maria Kanellis, Mike Bennett, Vinny, PCO, and of course Matt Taven, the original Kingdom. Moving right along, we had some more upsets as we had the Impact World Championship title on the line in a triple threat match. Moose was tested as he put his title on the line against the always ready superstar Matt Cardona and W. Morrissey. In the end, it was pinfall that won the day, and it was Moose who retained his title, much to dismay. And I guess sometimes being always ready just isn't quite good enough. And then, last but not least, we had the main event of the evening, highlighting and profiling and show-stopping Impact Wrestling's Hard to Kill 2022 was none other than the Knockouts champion. In her fourth reign as the Knockouts champion, Mickie James, as she went one-on-one, toe-to-toe with the virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo. In the end, there could only be one winner in this singles match, and everything was thrown at the champion with everything on the line. This is a match that you want to win. This is a match you have to prepare yourself, narrow your focus, and be ready for just about anything. Tables, ladders, chairs, thumbtacks, hammers, bats, barbed wire, guitars, you name it. You have to be ready for anything and everything. And that takes just a certain mindset. There is nothing like it. There is nothing like it. Nobody in their right mind goes, please hit me with steel chairs and run me through tables and please put thousands of thumbtacks into my body. Yes, that sounds like a great Saturday night. Can you imagine that conversation? If you are not a wrestler, then you probably cannot. But that's show business, and that is definitely pro wrestling and sports entertainment, proving that Impact Wrestling is indeed hard to kill, and Hard to Kill pay-per-view was exactly the way to kick off 2022. And in the end, Mickie James survived it all to retain her Impact Wrestling Knockouts World Championship against Deonna Purrazzo. Deonna Purrazzo wanted to start her third reign, but the day did not spell out virtuosa. That means that Mickie James will in fact enter the 2022 WWE Royal Rumble as the reigning and defending Impact Wrestling Knockouts World Champion. And the number one contender for that title is none other than the first ever Ultimate X winner for the Knockouts, Tasha Steelz. Tasha Steelz will be zeroing in on Mickie James, and you'll have to wonder going forward how much this Texas death match really cost Mickie James in the grand scheme of things, as she also prepares to enter the WWE Royal Rumble against some of the stiffest competition that she has ever faced throughout her career, and then has to come back from that and be looking over her shoulders for Tasha Steelz and Savannah Evans. Only time will tell. I know that Deonna Purrazzo wanted to start her third reign to be able to officially call herself the longest reigning Knockouts champion. However, before losing to Mickie James, she was at roughly 343 days prior to dropping that belt, which was only about roughly 30 plus days short of Taya Valkyrie's reign as the current longest reigning champion on record for the Knockouts division, which is currently on that said record for history in the Impact Wrestling books at 377 days. Will Mickie James defeat that record just like she defeated Deonna Purrazzo in this Texas death match? Stay tuned. This has been your latest Impact Wrestling post-show review, Hard to Kill, kicking off 2022. I am your host, Taeler Hendrix. Talk soon, everybody.